The Fed has cut down the rates by 50 BPS. The RBI has increased the interest rate by 75 BPS. These are things that we read in the newspaper. If you watch CNBC or any of these finance news channel, they would probably say it in even more fancy terms. They're likely to say there's a 50 pips increase in interest rate, or there's 75 pips decrease in interest rate, or they even could go and say there's been a margin expansion of 200 bips for this company. Right? What does this bips BPS actually mean? It's an acronym. It's a short form for basis points. Now, what does this basis points mean? 1% is equal to 100 basis points. So 0.5% is 50 basis points. 2% is 200 basis points, and so on and so forth. Let's look at it with respect to money and then see how this translates. Let's say I have 100 rupees. That's a whole that we have. 1/100th of it is 1 rupee. The equivalent is 1%. 1% is actually 1/100th of the whole. Now this 1 rupee is equal to 100 paise. 1% is equal to 100 basis points. So in terms of analogy, the whole is 100 rupees. 1% is essentially 1 rupee. 1 basis point is the equivalent of 1 paise. Now the question is, when you have percentage, why at all this basis points? Is it one of those insider jargons that they throw at people so that the common man does not understand what it is? Not that the finance industry does not have something like this. In this particular instance, basis points actually serves a purpose to avoid confusion in terms of how people communicate when they talk with respect to percentage. Before we understand what that confusion is, we need to get into the math. We need to understand the math of how percentage increase or percentage decrease is computed. In general, percentage change is equal to change in the numerator upon the original value in the denominator times 100. That's how you compute percentage. For instance, have an item which is priced at 100 rupees. The price goes up to 120 rupees. What's the percentage increase in price? It's computed as follows. The increase is 20 divided by the old value is 100 times 100. So 20 by 100 times 100 makes it as 20% increase. So percentage increase or percentage decrease is always a percentage of something. It's not a percentage in absolute thing. It's not 20% standing by itself. It's 20% of a old value. Now, where does basis points come into this picture? Now, let's take an example. Let's say there is a company that makes a profit of 20% this year. 20% of its sale is its profit. The profit next year increases. It goes up to 30% of sales. Wonderful performance. So how much has the profit percentage increased? It's become 1.5 times what it was, right? 20% has become 30%. 1.5 is what? 1 plus another half, which means a 50% increase. So the correct way to say by how much has the profit percentage increased, it's increased by 50%. Let's see whether our formula fits in here. From 20, it's gone up to 30. So it's a 10 increase divided by the old value of 20. So 10 by 20 times 100, which is a 50% increase. But look at what could be the confusion. If I had come to you and said that, hey, this company XYZ made a profit of 20% in year 1, and in year 2, its profit increased by 50%, there is a good chance that you would confuse it, or we would misconstrue it of thinking that, hey, the profit was 20%, it's gone up by 50%, which means it's 50 more than 20, the profit percentage is 70%, is what someone could misconstrue it to. What is the right term then to use? The correct term to use is 50% increase is an expansion of margin from 20% to 30%. If their margins had actually gone up from 20% to 70%, and if I want to use 50% as a term to represent it, the way to say that is that the profit increased from 20% by 50 percentage points. When I say 50 percentage points, then I add 50 to the 20 and arrive at the answer. When I say it's just 50%, it's 50% of this 20 is the amount by which it has gone up. It's confusing, right? So there is a good chance that I would have wanted to say 50% and I might slip and say it's 50 percentage points or vice versa, and that could lead to significant confusion. How do you avoid it? They brought in a completely new term. That's where basis points comes. So if the profit has gone up from 20 to 22%, but the gap of 20 to 22, the 2%, instead of bringing the word 2%, we say the profit margin has expanded by 200 basis points. Look at it. If someone who's borrowed and the interest rate has been at 10%. Let's say suddenly for some reason the interest rate increases to 12%. What's a percentage increase in interest? We all know the right term is 20% because it's a 2 increase on 10 into 100. But one morning, this person wakes up and realizes that I was paying 10% in interest and they're saying it's gone up by 20%. And if he thinks that the interest rate is therefore 30%, this guy might be in rude shock. To avoid this confusion, it's best to say 10% in interest has increased by 200 basis points. That's exactly the reason why this basis points is there. If you like this explanation, if you like this video, subscribe to it and share it with your friends. Best wishes.